The Fury of Firestorm, The Nuclear Men, number 18, written and art by Dan Jurgens. So last issue, Ronnie came home and found out his mom was kidnapped by someone who knows he's Firestorm. That's it. That's the story. This issue picks up following Relay and Skull Crusher, who were two of the villains from like an arc ago, and they're breaking into a Q-Core facility to try to get the new Q phone and sell it on the black market. But as they're breaking open the safe, Firestorm busts out, just doing his best Batman. Where is she? And they have no idea what he's talking about. It's like, where's my mom? I mean, Mrs. Raymond. I mean, my mom. And they're like, we don't kidnap people. Like, we're just here to steal a phone. I don't know what you're even talking about, kid. And Jason's in his head like, it seems like they're telling the truth. And it's like, all right, well, either way, I could still fight them, let off some steam. So he transmutes Skull Crusher's outfit into a baby diaper with a comically large safety pin holding it together. And then he threatens Relay with turning her hair into barbed wire. And she's just like, okay, like, seriously? But, like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. Can you please not do that? And Skull Crusher says, oh, yeah, if we knew somebody close to you, we wouldn't just kidnap her, we'd kill her. And then Firestorm punches him in the face. And then we get the whole flashback to like, okay, how did we get here? Turns out Ronnie called Jason and his dad, and they see the writing on the wall in blood, and they're like, oh, we got to call the cops. It's like, no, call the cops, and they're going to figure out this is Firestorm, and then the military will find out. And then Tanya shows up saying, oh my God, I just heard the news. Is everything fine? And Ronnie's like, no, it's not, Tanya. I could use a hug. So then they try to just basically go through, okay, who knows that we are Firestorm and therefore would have the ability to kidnap your mom and know this? And they say, all right, well, there was a whole last arc. These are all the people who might have known. And they realize the only people left are like Relay and Skull Crusher, who they think are in military custody, but it turns out they escaped. So they figured, let's do that. And now we cut to a completely different thing where is Ronnie's actual mom? And it turns out she's in a warehouse inside like an office cubicle in the middle of the warehouse where all the doors are locked, except for a door that's in the room with her. She's okay, just to really say here, she's been here for hours. Then she hears a noise in what is the closet of this office, and she's like, oh, is there someone in there? And she opens it and it's unlocked. And you'd think maybe if she's been in there for hours, she would have tried that door at some point. I know it's minuscule, but it is on the same page. So I really don't understand how they got away with that. But either way, there's a dude in there. He's tied up. He's like, oh, I got jumped in a parking lot. My name's Rick. I don't know what's happening here. And so they're basically just trying to figure out a way out of here. Rick pulls out a drawer from one of the desks, smashes it against the doorknob, which opens up the door. And then they see all these guys in black outfits out there. And they all start attacking Rick and Ronnie's mom. And Ronnie gets to her phone and is like, oh, I'm going to call Ronnie and he'll send his quote-unquote friend. So then we see this shadowy organization who's looking on at all this, and they're like, oh, this is taking too long, we need Firestorm now. And someone's like, oh, but Multiplex said that he could get him to show up, so we'll just wait for Multiplex to do his thing. So at that point, Tanya and Jason's mom or Jason's dad are just kind of tired of hanging around. Jason's dad makes the small talk of, so you and my son, are you like a thing? And Tanya's like, I don't really want to discuss that with you. And as they're about to call the cops, Firestorm shows back up and it's just like, okay, don't call the cops. Stop trying to do that. We got to figure out a new lead. And then Jason's dad's phone rings and he's like, oh, tell Ronnie to run the GPS on my phone and follow it here. Which, if that was a thing the whole time, why did he not do that first? But regardless, we move on. So he does the GPS. He makes his way over to the warehouse. He busts in. He starts knocking out the guys in the black suits, who, of course, are Multiplex. And as they knock out one of them, all the rest of them disappear. And he's like, oh, tell me where my mom, Mrs. Raymond is, or I'm going to knock you out again. He's like, oh, he's under the tarp. So they lift off the tarp. They know it's a trap, but they got to do it anyway. And inside is Rick and the mom hooked up to this big machine that seemingly is making them sick. And so they're like, we don't know how to disable the machine. Ronnie's like, I don't care. I'm going to start blasting it. What if you do something wrong? I don't know. I'll turn it into like toilet paper. No one would expect that. So he starts turning the machine into different materials, and something is happening, and it's pulling the energy out of Firestorm. And then finally Rick is like, oh, geez, that took way too long. I finally got all the energy I need. And he unhooks himself from the machine, and it turns out his name is Dalton Black. And Jason's like, I remember this guy. He worked as an assistant to Dr. Stein, and he was trying to sell all of the stuff on like the black market. He's evil. And he's like, yeah, and I used Stein's work in order to try to give myself powers, but whereas it allows you guys to do fusion, it allows me to do fission, and I can split myself up into multiplex. But now I need more of your energy because the half-life of my clones is getting shorter and shorter, so I'm going to use your energy to stay alive longer. And then all in the course of like one panel, Jason's like, I know how to beat him. We just got to throw more energy at him that he can handle. And so he does. And then Multiplex is like, oh no, this is totally too much for me. And he just keels over and like seemingly dies. So then Ronnie gets his mom out, says, hey, it's all good. Nothing can stop us now. And then we see the shadowy organization still watching, saying, all right, everyone go get Firestorm now. Okay. So if it wasn't obvious by the way I was recounting some of the issues in there, this book has issues. This book has problems with just basic logic. If her phone had a GPS the whole time, why didn't he track it to begin with? If there was a door that was unlocked in this room, why didn't she check that for hours? I feel like the Raymond family just kind of has some mental deficiencies where they don't think about the most obvious thing to do in a situation. But regardless, it apparently carries over to characters like Multiplex as well. Because, oh, I made this thing to drain your energy, and I never thought, hey, wait, what happens if too much energy? Golly, seems like that would be something that would be like, hey, make sure I get at least 5 volts and not more than 5 million. Check. Done. You built this whole crazy-ass machine to drain energy, and you didn't think, oh, what happens if too much? Ugh. Not a great issue. Not a good one, even. So overall, I'll give it a... I'm just going to give it a flat 5. And I know that that seems like it may be high for something that I'm, like, actually upset with. But... you know what? No buts. In saying that sentence, I now realize I'm bringing it down to, like, a 4. I'm actually upset with it. I don't like the fact that this just all kind of wrapped up in this neat little bow. And I know they're setting up this future thing, but, like... this story has wrapped. This is done. And it was all very poorly done. Maybe this is the point where he found out Firestorm was getting canceled and he had to like put a little bow on it super quick. But no, it's just lazy in a lot of ways. And I don't like it. So 4.